Yeah, so we're in the middle of packing, and we're moving from California to North Carolina to start a church again.
Wow.
And when I left North Carolina 2.5 years ago, I said, these 4 things I won't do. I will never plant a church again. I will never be a pastor again. I will never live in North Carolina again, and I will never drive across the country again, and never say never. So I was there a few weeks ago, and I had a nice trip back trying to raise funds for our ministry, the 1 Minute Apologist. I go back periodically to try to keep that ministry afloat and doing well. And for the duration of COVID, I found myself thinking, what does the church need to be like, and what does it need to look like after all this is over? And I found God really restoring my pastoral heart, and I found myself desiring to, preach the word again. And I just look at my season here in California as tremendously healing. God brought Pastor Brian into my life, giving me that great opportunity with this show. And when I came back, I talked to you about this, and you ended up saying, Bobby, we're in the 21st century. Why don't you stay on Pastor's Perspective, fly out once a month, and do this thing virtually?
Yeah.
And that became like the massive open door. And so, yes, Calvary Chapel, we're just so thankful that Calvary Chapel Costa Mesa is willing to plant us, and we're going to be part of CGN, and we're going to plant Image Church. And Mike Chaddock, I reached out to him ahead of time. I said, Mike, I always wanted to do like an Imago Day thing, but I like how you just cleaned it up with Image. Is that cool? And he says, absolutely. So we're going to be Image Church in Charlotte.
That's great.
He didn't charge you a franchise fee or anything?
He did not. He was amazing, and I just thought, there's so much that I felt like I could say, because people are finding their identity in their ethnicity or in their sexual preferences, and our identity comes in being created in the image of God. Mm-hmm. But let me tell you what's happened. So you give me that blessing saying, okay, we get to have a mother church, we get to be a part of CGN, I get to still do this incredible radio show, which I love doing with you, and I get to fly out once a month and be live in the studio. So since we stepped out in faith to do this, so now we're like, okay, well, we're going to need to transition. We're going to need a house to live in. We had 2 different people out of nowhere say, hey, we got a house you can use while you're looking. And then get this. Let me tell you this. This is incredible. I wake up the other day, and I go to bed, and I'm stressed about finances, because who plants a church in COVID-19? This is not this just seems silly. And it's kind of fun because I feel like I'm just stepping out like crazy, but it's scary too. Well, I wake up on my phone, and this guy says, hi, Bobby. I'm reaching out. This is going to sound crazy. I had a dream about 3 weeks ago, and I was just so woken up by it. And I'm a GM contractor. And he said, I woke up from my dream, and I felt like I was supposed to go find some retail space for people to be able to meet in and worship God, but I'm not exactly sure what it was supposed to be. So he says, I'm out driving around, and people are asking me, are you planting a church? And he says, I don't know what I'm doing. God just told me to go find some space. And so he sees my video about we're planting a church in the area. He bumps into another guy after that dream. He only told one other person about it. Mm-hmm. He says, I don't know why I'm telling this dream to this guy I bump into who used to go to your church. And he says, did you hear about Bobby? He's looking at coming back. And so I just got off the phone with him before I come on here. And here's one guy. This is his contribution there. He's wanting to help on. He's out looking for space and feels called to be a part of our team.
That's amazing. Well, that's great.
Stepping out in faith is amazing because...
Is that crazy?
Yeah.
And when you step out in faith, God starts to give you confirmation, right?
Yeah.
I mean, because there is that, like you texted me the other day and said, because there was all this excitement about this, and then you made the decision and you guys announced it, and then the next day I was like, oh no, what did I do? Right? Yeah. So now God's given you just those little bits of confirmation that you need to keep moving forward. So yeah, I think it's great. I mean, you're not going to be able to reach over and poke him,
right?
Except maybe once a month. You can do that.
True.
But we're going to get them set up on a good, get a good line between us. And of course, thinking about how many people we've had on during COVID especially, but we've done it before. But now COVID, everything's on a screen.
Yeah.
It's just like everything you do. I mean, people had Thanksgiving over Zoom. You know, I don't know how they passed the turkey, but somehow, you know, they navigated it. So,
and the thing too is everybody's used to the lower quality of Zoom or Skype or everything like that. And even, you know, when we do it here on the radio, it's not the best for our listeners, I don't think. But Bobby is committed to just making it look and sound great. So,
that's right.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Bobby's got a great setup. I've seen that setup back in North Carolina. So that's really good. And then Lance, our station manager, was talking about getting some, you know, technical sort of a connection that's going to be really good. So it's going to be great.
Yeah, I'm really looking for. I'm passionate about excellence. Like that's just part of like when I lead something, I want it to have excellence. I love good sound quality. We've talked about that, and it can be done well. I mean, it's just you watch the news at nighttime. They figure out systems when they have people at a distance, and it translates. And so we will make that happen. But I will say I hate the thought of leaving California though. So that is that's the sacrifice to me, is this beauty. I love California. I've loved being back here. I'm a Californian. So I'm going back, and I'm just so thankful that I can come here each month. I'll really look forward to that time. And then also for your continued mentorship, you know, I just want to say on air, just publicly, thank you again for your mentorship in my life. I honest to God, I mean, I really feel like God uprooted me, brought me here to you, stuck me under your healing wings, and you've just loved me well. Just your steady Eddie, you're even keeled. All the conversations that we've had, it's just incredible. And you know, the audience that knows the story of how I got alerted to you when I was just a kid in the midst of spiritual warfare, and then that same individual who shepherded me through a tape would shepherd me through a dark season of my life, and then now you're getting behind me, and I got saved at this church. And so it's so cool that we're going to be planted by you guys. I love it.
Yeah, it's amazing. And you know, one of the things that Bobby and I were just in conversation, you know, Bobby has a great preaching gift. He's one of the, I mean, he's just a tremendous teacher and
You
preacher.
were going to say he's one of the greatest preachers ever, right?
You know, I was, and then I just pulled back a little bit. I didn't want to overstate the case. But no, seriously, he's filled in for me before, and I've, you know, just seen him in that role, and I've thought, and you know, here we are in Southern California, and sure, you could go down the street and try to do something, but you know, it's kind of, I mean, it's a bit crowded here, you know, and with such a great,
very true,
with such a great preaching gift, I would just love to see it fully utilized. And I think, you know, going back to North Carolina, and isn't it ironic that those 4 things that you said you would never do? Here you go. And that's, you know, the Lord has a way of just sort of doing that with us, right?
Yeah.
So.